Alrighty, looks like we are going live, whether we're ready or not, because that's how life is going. How's everybody doing tonight? We don't really have time for a pre-show, unfortunately, but we will stop and say hi for a whole 2 minutes. And hopefully everybody is feeling good. Jason, hello. Thanks so much for coming by. Good to see you. Hope
Hey,
all is
Jason.
well. I'm just getting all our pieces up. Oh my goodness. It's all good until it all fights back, right? But that's part of the fun of technology. At least I didn't really roll the dice because there's an update available, but I did not install it because the first rule of technology is never update before the show. Alrighty. How'd you do today, Mare? Did you survive all right?
Oh, yeah, it's unexpected things that always take you by surprise. But other than that, it went pretty well as usual. It's the Tuesday rush to get online to be with everybody. But all in all, not a bad day. Pretty productive. How was your day? Don't even tell me, right?
Yeah, you don't want to know.
Yeah, I don't want to know. She's such a conversationalist when it comes to her day. It's like, don't even ask me. Yeah, it's been that kind of day. I know. Well, tonight we're going to be talking about the Business Analyst Transition Spin. Either other, transferable skills from the business analyst to other types of jobs or vice versa. And it's 8 o'clock live. Kathleen, or do we have all of our equipment ready to go? Ready to go?
I think we are ready. Go ahead. I'm just gonna just verifying everybody's really here.
Okay. And welcome everybody. Welcome to the BA Zone's live show tonight. I just said that we would be talking about the Business Analyst Transition Spin. Whether you're a business analyst, may be looking to branch out from some experience or other roles that might be thinking about doing business analysts. We see a lot of that questions out there about different roles becoming business analysts and vice versa. So we're going to get into that tonight. But before we do, let's just let you know where everyone can find us in all the usual places. That would be on thebazone.com. That's our website. You can go there. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube. And if you know anyone who would be interested in this information, please reach out to them. Give a shout out, let them know we're here, anybody who might be interested in this subject matter. And if you're a business analyst or anyone else and you have questions, feel free to contact us on thebazone.com, or during the show you can ask questions and we'll put them up there and answer them for you. Let's see what else is going on. I guess we should start with introductions. I'm Marianne Morrison. I'm one half of the BA Zone, and my cohort there in the back end is Kathleen, who is just trying, Kathleen Sinnott, and she's trying to get up all of the fun things going on. Tuesdays are busier than Mondays, Jason. You are absolutely right. Mondays, you're just sort of getting into the groove, right? You're sort of like, oh, let me check those emails. Let me start going. And Tuesday, that's when the action hits. But how are you doing, Kathleen? You're all set? We're all good to go? I'll start the show?
Yeah, go ahead. Just go ahead and do the start.
Okay. So what we're going to be talking about is, again, that transition spin type of thing. There's an awful lot of times where business analysts might get stuck in a rut, or they feel like they need to expand into other areas. And it's always a great thing to take on different types of jobs. It'll always improve your business analyst skills if you decide to come back to it. And there's also a lot of roles out there who are looking to branch out and that are a perfect sort of shoe-in. They're a perfect fit for a skill transition over to a business analyst. Each different type of job has their own skill set, but once you learn that smaller skill set, most of the other things that we do are definitely transferable. So the first one we're going to talk tonight about, which is sort of a perfect move, once you get some of the skill sets down, you'll see why, is an account manager. Account managers are sort of the liaison between a client and a company that provides services or products. And a lot of them in the technology field, which is what we're talking about typically. But they vary, again, this account manager position and their roles and responsibilities depending on, again, what industry they're in. Whether they're in business or corporate company, financial services, legal services. But they all basically have the same type of things going on for a skill set. Some of it is in the sales and marketing area. But they are basically, account managers are basically responsible for that relationship between the company that they work for, which is typically going to provide a product or a service, and all of their customers that they go out there. So right there, you can see that, they're dealing with clients, business analysts deal with clients. And they're basically trying to get that client to continue to use the products and services by finding new opportunities within the services that you provide in that company, or expanding it to different maybe areas of a particular client, and try to get more of a contract base with them. And they're also identifying the needs of that client. They're looking at other customers, which we do all the time too. If you're working in tech at all, you're always looking at other products. They're looking at other clients, and they're trying to meet the client's needs, which is exactly what a business analyst does. We're always trying to meet the needs of our internal and external clients. So if you don't think that you could move from a business analyst to an account manager, or vice versa the other way, let's just take a look at some of the skills that are listed for an account manager. So you have to have excellent communication skills, both verbal and written. Well, as a business analyst, we have to have that, obviously. You have to have an excellent knowledge of the company that you work for, or the services and products you sell. So as a business analyst, we need to do the same thing. We have to be really fully aware of the scope of all the products and services in order to make sure that we can either create a suite of products for them, or integrate those services, or find better ways to use those products or services. So we're always looking to maintain that knowledge base. And a lot of times, it's not that we're the knowledge experts. I mean, plenty of companies have that, but you have to have a really good breadth and depth of the company you're working for and the products and services they supply, in order to find solutions to the client needs, internal or external. Most of the time, the account manager is going to act as the first point of contact, as a liaison. And we do the same things in between our internal departments. If you're talking about, we're always, as a business analyst, talking to operations or sales or marketing or developers or ITQA, all of those fields. And the account manager is doing the same thing on the client side, and then they're bringing it back to their company. And again, talking to all those peoples potentially in all those different departments. So you can see where there's a really good crossover there. They're always dealing with client requests. Business analysts are always dealing with different types of requests. They have to have good negotiation skills. BAs obviously have to have good persuasion and negotiation skills. There's a certain amount of common sense and logical thinking that account managers do. And that's a very good skill set for a BA to have. You have to be a logical thinker, and you have to always be identifying different needs. Sometimes, wants of, we've discussed this before, that clients or customers, internal folks, they may not understand the difference between their wants and their actual needs. So we're always looking, as business analysts, to look at it from a different perspective, to say it's not really, you don't really want that. You need to be able to do this type of thing. And a lot of the times those needs will satisfy those wants. So that is another comparative skill. They also, they also have to relate to a wide variety of people. So as an account manager, you are talking to all different levels of people within an organization, all different types of roles within all different types of departments. Business analysts, same thing. And you have to be able in account management to design strategies or create proposals for a product or a service. As business analysts, we're always looking to create different strategies or give the customer different options. It could be around a feature, it could be around an entire product, but we're always putting up would you prefer it this way, 1, 2, or 3 options type of things. So that's something that the account manager is doing also. They're always saying, well, we could go with this particular strategy or proposal, or this one, and try to guide them into the one that you would like them to pick. And that's, that skill set of persuasion, sort of making them think that it is the idea that they wanted originally, but it's the one that's going to work for them the best from our side. They have to have the ability to prioritize and multitask, which we have to do. They have to have an attention for detail, self-motivated, some good IT skills. So in a nutshell, other than dealing with, sales and marketing, dealing with that particular knowledge base, which you can gain through actually working in that position, those skill sets are very transferable from an account manager to a business analyst. The thinking, the way they think is similar. The amount of detail and documentation that they have to put together is similar. And it is a nice crossover. It's a very easy crossover. So if you're considering as an account manager getting more into the product side or building those requirement needs out in a different way, it certainly is a transferable skill. Once you learn different diagramming skills. I mean, we're both presenting on slides, et cetera, but there's skill sets for the business analyst that you would have to have, and there's a few skill sets on the account manager, but certainly it's not a huge leap to go from one role to the other. So when you're out there job searching, look under the account management side or the business analyst side, and I think it works well. Kathleen, do you have anything to add to that? Hello?
Mute again. Out of all the job titles, I think that's probably the one that is the easiest transition because there is so much overlap in the work that's being done. But it's the kind of thing that they need to, really evaluate why they think they're making this transition. Because some people go into this thinking, oh, well, I'll become a BA because it's easier. And I'm here to tell you, and I'm sure Murray will back me up on this, it's not. It's different. It's not easier. So it's just important to make sure that, sorry, I took that time to try to adjust you, but it didn't work. I'll try one more time.
It'd be big.
So that's, the big thing is that, it's really good as far as there's some overlap, as far as the types of information they're dealing with, clients and all that kind of stuff, but it is a different mindset because you have to look at so many different pieces, whereas traditionally the folks that are doing the account stuff have the luxury of just focusing on what the account person wants, what the client wants, whereas when you're a BA you have to balance the business, the client, the users, the technology, and all the other pieces. So that's probably the biggest challenge for somebody who is trying to make that particular move. But if they are aware of that, and if they've worked with BAs and know what they're getting into, it can be a great move.
Right, I agree with you.
Now you fit better.
Now I fit better? I'm not the Godzilla of the screen anymore?
I'm juggling back here like a mad woman.
I know you are. And what do you think about business analysts moving into account management the other way?
I think that's probably an easier move because of all the things I just listed, in particular the fact that it means that instead of having to balance the happiness of all of these different groups, you get to focus in on one. But if you do that, make sure you remember everything else. Don't use it as an excuse to blow off all the rest of it. But yeah, exactly. I do think from that standpoint that's probably an easier transition. Other than the only concern I would have if somebody is doing that is that it may, after being a BA and dealing with the chaos, which has a negative connotation, but it actually can be a good thing because it keeps it from being boring by any means. So if they move into doing account work, that they run the risk of maybe being bored going forward, but they can always come back. We don't close the door on people.
We don't. Not sure if we have any comments out there yet this evening, but for you folks out there, if you have any comments or any questions, please feel free to text them through to us, and we'll get them up on the air and talk to them. We don't have any right now, do we, Kathleen?
No.
I don't want to cut anybody off. Okay. And do we have any business to discuss this evening? before I go on to the next topic?
Well, for all of you who maybe are catching this on the replay and would like to participate, ask questions, suggest show topics, you can reach us on our website, which is thebazone.com. If you don't want to do that, you can go to Twitter and tweet or DM us at the BA Zone, amazingly enough. We're also in all of the other usual places, which include, whoops, let me take that one off. So that would include, Periscope, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, we've got it. And if you are on Facebook, you can go ahead and comment right in the comments here, because we do come back and check those. I don't think that's working on YouTube yet. I tried the other day on a friend's show and it didn't seem to work, but they promise us that's coming. So in the meantime, you can go hit the website, hit us up on Twitter, whatever else works for you. We are friendly. We will get back to you. If you have a question and you need a fast answer, just let us know. Otherwise, we'll probably save it for another show. Alrighty.
Okay, great. All right, well, let's move on then. Let's talk about another role that potentially is a good crossover. I'm going to skip over the one that I was going to go with next. And flip to one that is also easily transferable, I think. I've done this before in my career. I've moved people from this particular role into a business analyst role, and that is the role of QA, or quality assurance, testing, as you will. Basically, QA folks, they work with a cross-functional team to ensure that quality of a product happens throughout the software development lifecycle. So they're the folks that also need an excellent knowledge of the product or the service that's being offered, because they're the ones that are testing it before it goes to production. A lot of that same attention to detail and that particular way of thinking to make sure something works very well to transition from a QA role to a BA role. So basically, QA is reviewing and analyzing system specifications that a business analyst builds. We pull them in early on in some of the earlier reviews, sometimes of that specification, just so that they can also potentially say, this may or may not work, because many times they are also dealing directly with external clients. When they're reporting bugs or something from the system. You like to say it goes out completely clean, but releases don't always do that. And so they are also on the front line sometimes with the client, or at least the second step from an account manager potentially to say that there's a problem. So they're reviewing those specifications. They have a lot of great input because they understand how the product works or is supposed to work, or they have that mindset, that way of thinking that is really transitions nicely over to a business analyst. They typically work with users, developers, database administrators, and BAs in developing effective strategies and test plans. So they're well aware of working with multiple layers of people. Maybe not so much client-facing, direct client-facing, but again, that's a skill set that everybody sort of learns, dealing with the client as opposed to internal communications. They create test cases and execute the test cases, whether those are manual or automated, and they analyze the results. And as BAs, we're doing that constantly. We're looking at different options, and we're potentially analyzing all the results that could happen. And we do that with our use cases. So QA is building test cases. Most of the time, they're building them from our use cases. But really good QA people will go beyond those use cases. And sometimes QA will come back and say, as a use case, this should be fleshed out a little further. So they do understand that same concept of the use case, the workflow, the use case, and analyzing all of the results. They will evaluate product code, according to the specifications. So they're looking at what's out there as opposed to what it's supposed to be. They create logs to document different issues during the testing phases. And they'll also have to prioritize any defects or bugs they find. They will help troubleshoot some of those issues in the same way that a business analyst would try to troubleshoot, something that comes up that they weren't aware of. they oftentimes can coordinate the user acceptance testing. And in that case, sometimes they are dealing directly with the client, or they're there in some type of a capacity. And they will sometimes note some of the maybe some additional requirements or for future releases that either internal or external customers will come up with. And they'll also do the conducting the post-release and post-implementation testing. So there's a lot of nice crossover there as well too. Sometimes QA, there are some issues there that they may be thinking too deeply. I mean, QA really thinks at a very unit type of level, very, very low. And sometimes it's a little difficult for them to come up to the bigger picture. But again, it's a skill that can be learned. But they have the prioritization skills, they have the detail skills to the information and getting the documentation down. So I think it's a nice fit. I certainly think that if you're tired of doing QA, you can transition into a BA position. You could always also, as BAs, we do a lot of QA, mainly initially when it's released to make sure it matches the high level requirements. And Kathleen and I will actually do some detailed testing as well, just because we kind of like that thing. We kind of like breaking things. But again, for the QA, it's simply a matter of tweaking some of those skill sets and more of a communication. But if they're exposed to a lot of levels within the organization of presenting and testing along with them, sometimes their communication skills, verbal communication skills, are really pretty good. So, as I said, I've done this in the past, moved people over from QA to BA, and it's a nice transition. Again, got to come up a level sometimes and not be so far focused down into the details that they can't get the requirements moving along, overthinking it type of thing. But, other than that, great fit. Wouldn't you say so, Kathleen? Kick it back over to you. Take yourself off mute.
Yeah, well, I had to. Murphy was upset by somebody who was driving down the street.
Oh, no.
I didn't want him to start barking and interrupt you. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. That's another one that I think makes a really good, smooth transition. And if they've got a few years doing that, I think the information and the experiences that they bring over are really valuable going forward. So I think that's a great move. And I think that can also help sort of inform the other BAs on the group on things on a deeper level. I mean, they would have had interactions with that, but I think it really would give them some deeper insight into some of the reasons why they've run into certain issues around dealing with that stuff, which will probably make things easier for the whole team going forward.
Mm-hmm. Great.
All right, so all of you lovely people out there, if you're finding this information helpful, we do invite you to join the mailing list, which means I should probably change that back. Hang on. Where is it? And like magic, there's the mailing list information. Just like magic. So if you go to bazone.com/mailing list, you'll join our mailing list. That way you'll get notified about upcoming shows, anything else we've got going on, if we've got any information we want to share. That's sort of our insiders list. All those folks on the mailing list get the information first. If you'd like to join them, come on over. You can rest assured we're not selling it. We're not sponsored by anybody. Nobody else is getting it. The only reason we ask for your email address is so that we can send you the information you asked for. And it's a double opt-in because, GDPR and all that, which I'm sure by now everybody's finished their projects, right? No, they haven't. I know they haven't. But, so it's a double opt-in, just so that we're in compliance with that. So you go to there, you make the request, you'll get an email confirming that you made the request. When you agree with that, that's when you'll get on the mailing list and get all of our future updates. And because what the heck, we're here. While we're talking about jobs and all that kind of stuff, we do have a couple of classes that we made available. So if you go to bazone.com/job help, you can get all the information there. One is focused on what to do before you start working on your resume, how to do your resume, and then, oops, wrong one. And then some stuff about the job search. The other one is focused on getting experience without having the experience. So when you start to look at, job ads and you start to think about maybe making the transition, or if you want to, you're a new BA coming into the market and you run into all these ads. We actually had something on Instagram a couple weeks ago about this. It's like, all this list of wishes of skills, which is basically unicorn stuff. And they want 20 years experience for technology that's been around for 3. So, you're going to run into these kind of things. And so we did a course on how to get experience before you've had a job that gives you that experience. And so you can get all the information about those at thebazone.com/job help. And along that line, so there's 2 others that I just wanted to throw in here that are also good candidates for this kind of move in, and that experience and the resume thing will also help you, those courses, take your existing skill sets, your existing resume, and massage it so that it's going to present well for a BA type skill. Now, we're not saying, this is not about lying. This is about you have skills that do map up. That's what Mary's walking you through. How all these skills, while it's a different job title, you're doing a lot of the same things. So these courses actually help you, understand how to position them and say, that, while, you had this job title, you were doing these kind of BA skills and it had this kind of outcome. 2 more I just want to throw out real quick that fall into this, but it's not worth getting into all detail because it's exactly the same patterns that Mary's been talking about. One is subject matter experts. Sometimes subject matter experts have worked with us for a while and they realize that they'd like to do our job too. And there are very often great candidates for this because, again, they have a certain depth of knowledge, they have a certain experience set that transitions well, they've already been through the processes so they know. So really the big challenge for them is to just get out of that subject matter expert mindset and getting into the BA mindset. But it's not as big a leap as you might guess on first glance. So that's 1, 2 that we recommend that if you're looking for a change, it might be worth considering. And I've seen some BAs actually go the other way. They've worked so many years on one particular product that just over time, they become the subject matter expert. So that door definitely swings both ways too. One other that it's funny, for a while you weren't hearing too much about this job title, and lately I'm getting a lot of people bringing it up again. Technical writers. I know you're out there. Hi, hope you're watching. That is one of the job titles I've held in my career, and it has started to get the respect that it needs again, and it started to come back. But I'm also hearing from some technical writers who are feeling a little burned out and looking for something different. Well, we know they can write because that's what they've been doing. We know they understand the technical stuff and can explain it because that's what they've been doing. And in a lot of cases, they're having to puzzle out what a system's going to do before it actually exists. So we know that they're problem solvers and creative thinkers. So they are also another great resource, another great case for possibly moving from one job title into the business analyst one. So just want to throw those out there because I do know that those are ones that can also be very successful at this. Anything else, Bear?
There's another one that I can think of that if you're along the lines of subject matter expert, you move to BA to subject matter expert, and then you want to expand from subject matter expert, you can always go into product management. It's a little bit more different, but it applies a lot of the same strategies. It's just that now you're actually creating the strategy and vision for a product. So if you've been working in a product for quite a while and you see the potential there to create a completely new product or a strategy or vision, you're defining features and requirements, you're involved in release management and customer interviews, the same thing. Product management is another way that you can expand your skill set. And the last one that I'll talk about that I see a lot, that is a potentially good fit, but it does have some of its issues, is a developer who wants to become a business analyst. And I've seen this in the past, and they want to create requirements. The problem with developers often is that they're looking at the solution before they're actually listening to what people need. They're creating this, that's what they do. That's their job. They're there to just create the solution. They get all excited about that, but they really don't listen very well. And there have been, I've seen it in cases, people wanting to transition from a developer to a business analyst. Sure. It's absolutely can be done. It's just it's a very different mindset, I think. More different than, not very great English, more different, but it's different.
More different.
Varies a little bit more. More differenter, yeah. It just varies a little bit more than the other ones we've been discussing. But again, doable, but that's kind of a little trickier one. But those are the ones that I can think of.
The big problem, I think, big challenge, let's go with that word, right? It sounds better. The big challenge for the developers is speaking non-developer. because if they've been doing it for any length of time, that's sort of ingrained in their brain. Now, that said, I have seen some newer developers who went into developing because they thought they were going to like doing it every day and found out that that wasn't the case. Those, I think, probably have a little bit easier time transitioning over because it's not so much of their mindset yet. But for anybody that's been doing coding for a long time, as they try to transition over, they do have to remember to adjust their vocabulary and not get frustrated that not everybody understands the technology as well as them. But as long as they can get over those humps, they're certainly comfortable doing diagramming. They certainly understand the systems very well. They understand, security and those kinds of things. Probably want to keep them away from the front end for a little while. But other than that, there's certainly some possibility.
You're right. Yeah, the problem with the front end is, a lot of times a developer will listen to one person sort of and think, okay, I can solve that. But they may just be solving for that one person, not realizing there's a whole other lexicon of stuff going on there. But absolutely.
When you've got a couple thousand users, it's really not helpful to just design a solution for one. It's not the economies of scale don't kick in there.
That's right. But they get comfortable with one, and that's what happens.
Well, yes. Yeah. For anybody, it's easier just to think about the one. But this is what is it? The needs of.
Oh yeah, Star Trek.
What is it? Yes.
Trek. The needs of the many
outweigh the needs of the one. See, I can't. Wow. See this? My brain is not doing good. If I can't get it. No, now I've got to get it because that's just embarrassing. Here we go.
The needs of the many outweigh.
You know what? My problem is I haven't had enough. Okay. Yes, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. That's where I was getting messed up. I knew there was a path to one. I just didn't get there.
Can you do it? Oh
yeah, I can do it with both hands.
Yeah. Oh, ambidextrous. Do. Okay.
That's a requirement in my family. You have to be able to do that.
That's right.
We teach the children young.
We end on a high note with Mr. Spock.
Yes. All right. So I think we are good then. And for once, we're not doing a 14-hour show.
Yay!
Not that didn't go over well. So I do want to just take a second and thank everybody who gave us feedback last week, participated, especially those of you who shared last week's show. We really appreciate you spreading the word. That means the world to us, and we appreciate the fact that you are finding this content helpful enough to want to share it with the people in your world. So thank you. We do appreciate it.
And we have a great time.
We do. We have a party, because this is like the one chance we get to party all week.
All week.
From here on out, it's meetings.
All right. Anything else to wrap it up then?
No, other than, please, if you're just joining now, if you're just joining us now, you can visit thebazone.com. If you have any questions, comments, there's a comment form there. There's also all kinds of other information there. You can find us on Twitter. You can also find us in all of the places. So we've got, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Periscope, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. Toying with the idea of Twitch. Let us know if you think that this content would go there. If you are a Twitch person, I'm not so sure yet, but we could try it if you want us to. That's what we're here for. We are here to help you. So please don't hesitate. If you have any questions or comments, if you have an idea for a show, if there's something that you need information on, let us know. That's where most of our good ideas come from. So don't be shy. We don't bite.
Absolutely not. Great. Terrific show. Okay, don't forget to join us next week. Same time, same place. And have a fantastic week, everyone. Thanks again.
Yep. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I have to find the magic button. There it is. Oh, wait. No, that's not the right
Take us out.
button. Wait. Where is it?